Malice, also known as the Renegade God, the Outcast God, and the Lost God, is a mysterious and enigmatic entity within the chaotic pantheon of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Unlike the four major chaos gods, Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh, Malice stands apart, embodying the very essence of chaos's self-destructive nature. The origins of Malice are shrouded in mystery and contradiction, befitting its nature as the hierarch of anarchy and terror. Some whisper that Malice was born from the collective unconscious of sentient beings' fear of chaos itself, while others claim it is a splintered aspect of the chaos gods that gained sentience and broke away. Malice's sacred number is 11, a number that stands apart from the traditional numerology of chaos. This number represents its status as an outsider, always one step beyond the boundaries of conventional chaos, worship, and symbolism. The colors associated with Malice are black and white, a stark contrast to the vibrant and often clashing hues of the other chaos gods. This color scheme represents the duality of Malice's nature, the absolute contrast between order and anarchy, existence and oblivion. Unlike the other chaos gods who actively seek worshippers and servants, Malice is said to spurn dedicated followers. Those who do fall under its sway often do so unknowingly, drawn by its promise of true anarchic freedom and the power to overthrow all systems of control, including those of chaos itself. The symbol of Malice is a bisected skull, half black and half white. This icon is rarely seen in the material universe, as those who bear it are often hunted not only by the forces of the Imperium, but also by the followers of the other chaos gods. Malice's realm within the warp is said to be a place of constant flux and contradiction. Visitors describe it as a twisting labyrinth of black and white, where the laws of reality are in a constant state of collapse and reformation. The power of Malice is parasitic in nature. It grows not through direct worship or acts committed in its name, but by feeding on the power of the other chaos gods. As they grow stronger, so too does Malice, like a shadow that lengthens as the light intensifies. Malice is often referred to as the Renegade God, because it stands in opposition not only to order, but to the established structures of chaos itself. It seeks to undermine and destroy all forms of power, including that of its fellow chaos entities. The followers of Malice, rare as they are among the most unpredictable and dangerous forces in the galaxy. They seek not to conquer or corrupt, but to sow discord and destruction indiscriminately, often turning against their own allies without warning. There are whispers among the Ordo Malleus of the Inquisition that Malice may be the key to ultimately defeating chaos. Some radical inquisitors believe that by harnessing its power, they could turn chaos against itself and purge the warp of the other gods' influence. The existence of Malice is a closely guarded secret within the Imperium. Knowledge of its nature is restricted to only the highest levels of the Inquisition and certain members of the Adeptus Mechanicus who study the nature of chaos. Malice's influence is said to be strongest in areas where reality is already weakened, such as on the fringes of warp storms or in the aftermath of demonic incursions. In these places, reality itself seems to unravel, with cause and effect becoming untethered. The demons of Malice, if they can truly be called such, are unlike those of the other chaos gods. They appear as shifting monochromatic entities that seem to flicker in and out of existence, their very presence causing reality to warp and distort. Some scholars of the Ordo Malleus theorize that Malice may be a manifestation of the universe's attempt to balance itself against the corrupting influence of chaos. This theory, however, is considered heretical by most within the Imperium. The Sons of Malice, a renegade chapter of Space Marines, are the most well-known servants of the Renegade God. Their fall from the Emperor's grace is a tale of tragedy and horror that serves as a cautionary tale to all who would delve too deeply into the nature of chaos. The homeworld of the Sons of Malice, Skelis, is said to be a planet trapped in a state of constant flux between real space and the warp. Those who have glimpsed it report seeing a world where black and white clash in endless swirling patterns. Malice's influence extends beyond just corrupting individuals or organizations. Entire planets have fallen under its sway, becoming anarchic hellscapes where all semblance of order or purpose has been stripped away, leaving only chaos in its purest form. The worship of Malice often takes the form of nihilistic cults that seek to bring about the end of all things. These cults are particularly dangerous because they have no goal beyond destruction, making them unpredictable and nearly impossible to negotiate with. Some tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus believe that Malice represents a flaw in the underlying code of the universe, a glitch in reality that threatens to unravel the fabric of existence if left unchecked. The power of Malice waxes and wanes with the conflicts between the other Chaos gods. During times of relative peace in the Warp, Malice's influence diminishes, but when the ruinous powers war amongst themselves, Malice grows ever stronger. There are legends of entire sectors of space that have fallen to Malice, becoming zones of pure anarchy where the laws of physics break down and reality itself becomes fluid and unpredictable. These areas are given a wide berth by even the bravest of spacefarers. The Inquisition has standing orders to purge any mention of Malice from Imperial records. This has led to the destruction of entire libraries and data vaults, sometimes along with the people who maintain them, all in an effort to keep knowledge of the renegade god suppressed. Some Eldar Farseers claim to have foreseen a time when Malice will rise to prominence, causing a schism within Chaos that could potentially lead to its downfall. These prophecies are closely guarded secrets, known only to a select few within the craft worlds. The forces of Malice do not fight in organized armies like those of the other Chaos gods. Instead, they appear seemingly at random, striking without warning and disappearing just as quickly, leaving devastation and confusion in their wake. There are whispers of a demon prince of Malice, a being of such anarchic power that its very existence threatens the stability of real space. This entity is said to be imprisoned deep within the Warp, held in check by the combined efforts of the other Chaos gods. The influence of Malice can sometimes be seen in the mutations of Chaos followers. Those touched by its power often develop asymmetrical mutations, with one side of their body becoming a monochrome mockery of their former selves. Malice is said to have no true desires or goals beyond the propagation of pure chaos. It seeks not to rule or dominate, but simply to exist as a force of ultimate entropy, breaking down all structures and hierarchies. The psychic signature of Malice is described by those sensitive to such things as a discordant scream, a sound that seems to exist at the very edge of perception and threatens to drive those who hear it to madness. Some heretical scholars posit that Malice may be the true face of Chaos Undivided, representing the raw, unaligned power of the Warp in its purest form. This theory is violently rejected by the followers of the other Chaos gods. The artifacts associated with Malice are rare and highly sought after by both the Inquisition and Chaos warbands. These items are said to have the power to negate warp energy, making them potent weapons against demons and psychers alike. The presence of Malice can sometimes be detected by a sudden and inexplicable failure of technology. Machines touched by its influence often malfunction in ways that defy logical explanation, their machine spirits driven to rebellion against their operators. There are rumors of entire fleets lost to the influence of Malice, their crews driven mad by its touch, and their ships transformed into ghostly vessels that appear and disappear at random throughout the galaxy, sowing destruction wherever they manifest. The Adeptus Astra Telepathica has standing orders to monitor for any psychic signatures that might indicate the presence of Malice. However, the nature of the renegade god makes such detection incredibly difficult and unreliable. Some radical members of the Ordo Xenos believe that Malice may have influenced or even created some of the more anarchic and destructive Xenos races in the galaxy, shaping them into agents of pure chaos. The influence of Malice is said to be strongest during times of great upheaval and change. During such periods, reality itself seems to become more malleable, allowing the anarchic power of the renegade god to seep into the material universe. There are accounts of entire populations falling under the sway of Malice, descending into orgies of senseless violence and self-destruction. These events are often preceded by the appearance of strange, monochromatic phenomena in the sky. The ecclesiarchy officially denies the existence of Malice, claiming that belief in such an entity is a heresy of the highest order. However, some within the church secretly study its nature, believing it to be a test of faith sent by the emperor himself. Malice's influence can sometimes be seen in the behavior of other chaos entities. Demons and Chaos Space Marines touched by its power may suddenly turn on their allies, driven by an inexplicable urge to destroy everything around them, including themselves. The Ordo Malice maintains a secret vault deep within the heart of Terra, filled with artifacts and records related to Malice. Access to this vault is restricted to only the highest-ranking members of the Inquisition, and its very existence is a closely guarded secret. Some tech priests believe that the occasional inexplicable failures of the Astronomicon may be due to the influence of Malice, its anarchic power temporarily disrupting the psychic beacon that guides humanity through the warp. There are legends of a lost primarch who fell under the sway of Malice, his legion becoming the first servants of the renegade god. These tales are dismissed as fiction by imperial authorities, but persist nonetheless in the darker corners of the Imperium. The power of Malice is said to be particularly strong in places where great atrocities have been committed. These sites become nexuses of anarchic energy, warping reality around them and drawing in those susceptible to Malice's influence. Some chaos sorcerers attempt to harness the power of Malice to fuel their spells, believing it to be a source of raw, unaligned warp energy. Such attempts often end in disaster, with the sorcerer losing control and being consumed by the very power they sought to wield. The influence of Malice can sometimes manifest as a kind of anti-miracle, where the laws of probability seem to break down entirely. In such events, the impossible becomes commonplace, and the fabric of reality threatens to unravel completely. There are whispers of a hidden 13th month in the imperial calendar, a time when the veil between real space and the warp grows thin, and the power of Malice reaches its peak. During this phantom month, it's said that the impossible becomes possible, and anarchy reigns supreme. Some members of the Adeptus Mechanicus believe that Malice represents a kind of cosmic error, a flaw in the underlying code of the universe. They seek to study its nature in hopes of finding a way to debug reality itself. The influence of Malice is particularly strong in areas of space where warp storms rage. In these regions, reality becomes fluid and unpredictable, with entire planets sometimes disappearing or reappearing seemingly at random. There are accounts of Imperial ships becoming lost in the warp and emerging centuries later, their crews transformed into monochromatic, chaos-worshipping madmen who speak of revelations granted to them by Malice during their long journey through the Immaterium. Some inquisitors believe that the occasional mass outbreaks of insanity and violence that sometimes occur on Imperial worlds may be due to the subtle influence of Malice, its power driving entire populations to senseless acts of destruction. The Eldar speak of Malice in hushed tones, referring to it as the Great Unmaker. They believe it to be a force of cosmic entropy that seeks to undo the very fabric of creation, returning all things to a state of primordial chaos. There are legends of a group of renegade Grey Knights who turn to the worship of Malice, using their psychic powers and knowledge of demonic lore to spread anarchy throughout the Imperium. The veracity of these tales is hotly debated within the Ordo Malice. Some tech adepts whisper that the occasional catastrophic failures of Titan war machines may be due to the influence of Malice, its power corrupting even the most sacred machine spirits of the Adeptus Mechanicus. The power of Malice is said to be particularly potent in the vicinity of Blackstone fortresses, leading some to speculate that these ancient structures may have some connection to the renegade god. There are accounts of entire sectors of space becoming unanchored from reality under the influence of Malice, drifting through the warp and occasionally colliding with real space in cataclysmic events that defy explanation. Some members of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica claim to have sensed a vast alien intelligence lurking at the edges of their perception during astropathic communications. They describe it as a presence that seeks to disrupt and distort their messages, spreading confusion and misinformation. The worship of Malice sometimes takes the form of strange, reality-warping rituals that seem to defy the laws of physics. Participants in these rites report experiences of existing in multiple places at once or perceiving time running backwards. There are rumors of a faction within the Alpha Legion that has fallen under the sway of Malice, using their talents for deception and infiltration to spread anarchy and confusion throughout both the Imperium and the forces of chaos. Some tech priests believe that the occasional appearances of men of iron in the 41st millennium may be linked to the influence of Malice, its power reactivating these ancient and forbidden war machines to once again wreak havoc upon humanity. The influence of Malice is said to be particularly strong in the vicinity of certain warp rifts, where reality and the immaterium bleed into one another. In these areas, causality itself breaks down, with events occurring before their causes and effects preceding their origins. There are accounts of entire planetary populations disappearing without a trace, only to reappear years or even centuries later, transformed into anarchic, monochromatic parodies of their former selves. These events are sometimes attributed to the influence of Malice. Some inquisitors believe that Malice may be the key to ultimately defeating chaos, reasoning that its self-destructive nature could be turned against the other ruinous powers. This dangerous line of thought has led more than one inquisitor down the path to heresy. The power of Malice is said to be able to corrupt and twist even the most sacred of imperial relics. There are tales of holy weapons and artifacts becoming conduits for its anarchic energy, turning them into tools of destruction and madness. Some members of the Adeptus Mechanicus theorize that Malice may be a kind of sentient scrap code, a virus in the underlying programming of reality that seeks to corrupt and destabilize the very fabric of existence. There are whispers of a hidden warp route known as the Path of Malice, a treacherous and ever-shifting corridor through the Imperium that is said to lead to places beyond the boundaries of known space and time. The influence of Malice can sometimes manifest in the form of strange, reality-warping phenomena. Witnesses report seeing objects move of their own accord, colors shifting and changing, and the laws of physics seeming to break down entirely. Some scholars within the Ordo Malice believe that Malice may be the result of a failed attempt by the Emperor to create a fifth Chaos God that would bring balance to the warp. This theory is considered extremely heretical and is suppressed wherever it appears. The power of Malice is said to be particularly strong in places where great acts of betrayal have occurred. These sites become nexuses of anarchic energy, drawing in those susceptible to Malice's influence and driving them to further acts of treachery. There are legends of a lost craft world that fell under the influence of Malice, its inhabitants driven mad by the renegade god's touch. This phantom craft world is said to appear at random throughout the galaxy, bringing madness and destruction wherever it manifests. Some tech priests believe that Malice represents a kind of anti-information, a force that actively works to corrupt and destroy knowledge. They point to instances of inexplicable data loss and the degradation of ancient archives as evidence of its influence. The worship of Malice sometimes takes the form of strange inverted rituals that seek to uncreate reality. Participants in these rites report experiencing their own births in reverse or witnessing the unmaking of stars and planets. There are rumors of a faction within the Officio Assassinorum that has fallen under the sway of Malice, using their skills to sow chaos and discord throughout the Imperium rather than serving its interests. Some inquisitors believe that the occasional outbreaks of mass hysteria and impossible events on Imperial worlds may be due to the influence of Malice bleeding through from the warp, temporarily warping the fabric of reality. The power of Malice is said to be particularly potent in areas where time and space have been damaged by warp travel or psychic phenomena. In these regions, causality itself can break down, leading to paradoxes and impossible events. There are accounts of Imperial ships encountering strange monochromatic space hulks that seem to defy the laws of physics. These derelict vessels are believed to be manifestations of Malice's power in real space. Some members of the Adeptus Mechanicus theorize that Malice may be a kind of cosmic autoimmune response, a force generated by reality itself to combat the corrupting influence of chaos. The influence of Malice can sometimes be seen in the dreams of psychers and those sensitive to the warp. These individuals report nightmares of a universe unraveling, with all structure and meaning dissolving into a cacophony of pure anarchy. There are whispers of a hidden conclave of radical inquisitors who seek to harness the power of Malice to combat the other chaos gods. Their experiments are said to be as dangerous as they are heretical. The power of Malice is believed to be strongest at the moment of a star's death. There are accounts of entire systems being plunged into madness and anarchy in the final moments before their sun goes supernova. Some tech priests believe that the occasional inexplicable malfunctions of Geller fields may be due to the influence of Malice, its power seeking to dissolve the barriers between real space and the warp. There are legends of a lost chapter of Space Marines who, in their quest for purity, turn to Malice as a means of purging all taint of chaos from themselves. The fate of this chapter remains unknown. The worship of Malice sometimes manifests as a form of extreme nihilism, with cultists seeking to negate their own existence and that of everything around them. These cults are particularly dangerous due to their complete lack of self-preservation instinct. Some members of the Ordo Chronos, before their disappearance, theorized that Malice might be an entity from outside of time itself, seeking to unravel the temporal fabric of the universe. The influence of Malice is said to be particularly strong in places where great works of art or culture have been destroyed. These sites become nexuses of entropic energy, drawn to the annihilation of creation. There are accounts of entire forge worlds falling silent, only to be found later with their entire populations transformed into mindless, autonomic workers, endlessly producing machinery that deconstructs itself as soon as it's completed. Some inquisitors believe that the strange reality-warping properties of certain Xenos artifacts may be due to the influence of Malice, its power manifesting through these alien technologies. The power of Malice is rumored to be able to corrupt even the purest of substances. There are tales of adamantium becoming brittle as glass and plasteel flowing like water under its influence. There are whispers of a hidden order within the Adepta Sororitas dedicated to combating the influence of Malice. These battle sisters are said to wield weapons that can negate warp energy and stabilize reality itself. Some tech priests theorize that the occasional inexplicable failures of warp drives may be due to the influence of Malice, its power disrupting the delicate calculations needed for safe warp travel. The influence of Malice can sometimes manifest in the form of impossible geometries and non-Euclidean spaces. Witnesses report rooms that are larger on the inside than the outside, or corridors that loop back on themselves in impossible ways. There are legends of a demon engine devoted to Malice, a vast reality-warping machine that unmakes everything it touches, reducing matter and energy back to their most basic, chaotic forms. Some members of the Adeptus Mechanicus believe that Malice may be a kind of sentient mathematical error, a flaw in the underlying equations of reality that has somehow gained consciousness and purpose. The worship of Malice sometimes takes the form of strange, inverted technological rituals. Cultists have been observed disassembling complex machines and reassembling them in impossible configurations that somehow still function. There are rumors of a faction within the Dark Mechanicum that seeks to harness the power of Malice as a means of transcending the limitations of both reality and the warp. The power of Malice is said to be particularly potent in the vicinity of certain archaeotech devices. Some tech priests believe that these ancient technologies may have been designed to harness or control Malice's influence. Some inquisitors theorize that the occasional mass disappearances of entire Imperial Guard regiments may be due to the influence of Malice, its power somehow removing these soldiers from reality itself. The influence of Malice can sometimes be seen in the behavior of warp-based creatures. There are accounts of demons acting against their nature, or even turning against their own Chaos God under Malice's sway. There are whispers of a hidden vault deep within the Imperial Palace on Terra, containing artifacts and records related to Malice that even the High Lords are not permitted to access. Some members of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica believe that Malice may be the source of the occasional, inexplicable blank spots they encounter in their psychic communications, areas of space that seem to be completely cut off from the warp. The worship of Malice sometimes manifests as a form of technological anarchism, with cultists seeking to break down the barriers between organic and mechanical life in chaotic and unpredictable ways. There are accounts of entire sectors of space becoming unmoored from the usual laws of physics under the influence of Malice, with time and space becoming fluid and unpredictable within their boundaries. Some tech priests theorize that Malice may be a kind of cosmic debugging program gone rogue, originally designed to correct errors in reality, but now seeking to rewrite the universe's source code entirely. The power of Malice is said to be able to corrupt and twist even the most sacred of Imperial technologies. There are tales of Titan war machines turning on their own allies, driven by an insurmountable urge to destroy everything around them. There are rumors of a hidden order of psychers who can tap into the power of Malice, using its reality-warping abilities to perform feats that defy both physics and the usual laws of psychic phenomena. Some members of the Ordo Malice believe that Malice may be the key to understanding the true nature of the warp, seeing it as a force that exists at the boundary between real space and the immaterium. The influence of Malice can sometimes manifest in the form of temporal anomalies. There are accounts of people aging backwards, or of past and future versions of individuals existing simultaneously. There are legends of a lost Blackstone fortress that fell under the influence of Malice, its incredible power turned towards the goal of unmaking reality itself. The location of this corrupted fortress is the subject of much speculation and fear. Some inquisitors theorize that the strange reality-warping properties of certain warp storms may be due to the influence of Malice, its power manifesting in areas where the barrier between real space and the warp is already weakened. The worship of Malice sometimes takes the form of paradoxical philosophies that embrace both creation and destruction simultaneously, seeking to exist in a state of perpetual contradiction. There are whispers of a hidden faction within the Adeptus Mechanicus that believes Malice to be the true face of the Omnissiah, a force of pure information and possibility, unfettered by the laws of reality. The power of Malice is said to be particularly strong in places where great scientific or technological discoveries have been made. These sites sometimes become nexuses of reality-warping energy, as if the breakthroughs have weakened the fabric of the universe. Some members of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica report encountering a strange, discordant anti-signal in their psychic communications, which they believe may be the voice of Malice itself. There are accounts of entire planets being found with their populations living in a state of impossible contradiction, simultaneously alive and dead, present and absent in a way that defies all rational explanation. Some tech priests believe that Malice may be a kind of sentient quantum uncertainty, a force that embodies the fundamental unpredictability of the universe at its smallest scales. The influence of Malice can sometimes be seen in the mutations of those touched by the warp. There are reports of individuals developing organs with impossible functions, or limbs that seem to exist in multiple dimensions at once. There are legends of a demon prince of Malice who appears as a being of pure static, constantly shifting and changing in a way that drives mortals mad to behold. Some members of the Ordo Chronos, before their disappearance, theorized that Malice might be an entity from the far future, reaching back through time to undo its own creation. The worship of Malice sometimes manifests as a form of extreme individualism, with cultists seeking to break free from all forms of external influence or control, even if it means rejecting the fundamental laws of reality. There are rumors of a hidden forge world devoted to Malice, where impossible technologies are created and unmade in an endless cycle of innovation and destruction. Some Inquisitors believe that the occasional inexplicable failures of the Astronomicon may be due to the influence of Malice, its power temporarily disrupting the psychic beacon that guides humanity through the warp. The power of Malice is said to be able to corrupt and twist even the most stable of warp routes. There are tales of entire fleets being lost after encountering Malice-tainted sections of the Imperium. There are whispers of a hidden order of Chaos Space Marines who have rejected the worship of all gods, including Malice itself, instead embracing a philosophy of pure, unaligned chaos. Some tech priests theorize that Malice may be a kind of cosmic antivirus program designed to eliminate the infection of ordered reality and return the universe to a state of pure potential. The influence of Malice can sometimes manifest in the form of impossible biology. There are accounts of creatures that exist without any discernible organic structure, or that seem to be composed of pure information. There are legends of a lost imperial saint who was canonized for their battles against the forces of chaos, only to later fall under the sway of Malice and become a herald of anarchic destruction. Some members of the Adeptus Mechanicus believe that Malice may be a kind of sentient void, an emptiness that actively seeks to consume all matter and energy, returning the universe to a state of pre-cosmic nothingness. The worship of Malice sometimes takes the form of strange, inverted acts of creation. Cultists have been observed building structures that shouldn't be able to stand, or creating art that seems to actively reject its own existence. There are rumors of a hidden conclave of radical inquisitors who believe that Malice may be a manifestation of the Emperor's will, a force created to ultimately destroy chaos from within. The power of Malice is said to be particularly potent in areas where the boundaries between different realities are thin. In these places, entire sections of space-time can become fluid and mutable. Some tech priests theorize that the occasional, inexplicable malfunctions of Necron technology may be due to the influence of Malice, its power somehow affecting even these ancient and incredibly advanced machines. The influence of Malice can sometimes be seen in the behavior of psychers. There are accounts of individuals developing powers that seem to defy the usual classifications, or that operate on principles that contradict known psychic lore. There are whispers of a hidden vault within the Black Library of the Eldar, containing knowledge about Malice that is deemed too dangerous for anyone, even the Eldar themselves, to access. Some members of the Ordo Malice believe that Malice may be the result of a failed attempt by the Old Ones to create a weapon against the Satan, a force of pure entropy that backfired catastrophically. The worship of Malice sometimes manifests as a form of temporal anarchism, with cultists seeking to break free from the bonds of linear time and exist in a state of perpetual, simultaneous possibility. There are accounts of entire star systems being found in states of temporal flux, with past, present, and future existing simultaneously in a chaotic, ever-shifting maelstrom of possibility. Some Inquisitors theorize that the strange reality-warping properties of certain warp-tainted artifacts may be due to the influence of Malice, its power manifesting through these corrupted items. The power of Malice is said to be able to corrupt and twist even the most fundamental forces of the universe. There are tales of gravity reversing itself, or of the strong nuclear force simply ceasing to function in localized areas. There are rumors of a hidden faction within the Adeptus Custodes, dedicated to guarding against the influence of Malice, believed to be acting on secret orders from the Emperor himself. Some tech priests believe that Malice may be a kind of cosmic recursion error, a flaw in the underlying logic of the universe that causes reality to fold in on itself in impossible ways. The influence of Malice can sometimes manifest in the form of information paradoxes. There are accounts of books whose contents change every time they're read, or of data that seems to actively resist any attempt to analyze or categorize it. There are legends of a demon weapon devoted to Malice, a blade that unmakes anything it cuts on a fundamental level, erasing its target not just from reality, but from history itself. Some members of the Adeptus Mechanicus theorize that malice may be a kind of sentient entropy, the heat death of the universe given consciousness and purpose. The worship of malice sometimes takes the form of strange, inverted acts of faith. Cultists have been observed performing rituals that simultaneously affirm and deny the existence of their god, existing in a state of perpetual theological contradiction. There are whispers of a hidden webway gate that leads to a realm completely under the influence of malice, a place where the laws of physics are more like guidelines and reality is constantly in flux. The power of malice is said to be particularly strong in the vicinity of certain ancient Xenos ruins. Some inquisitors believe these sites may be the remnants of civilizations that were destroyed by their attempts to harness or control malice's power. Some tech priests believe that the occasional, inexplicable disappearances of entire Forge worlds may be due to the influence of malice, its power somehow removing these planets from reality itself. The influence of malice can sometimes be seen in the behavior of machine spirits. There are accounts of trusted technologies developing impossible new functions, or seemingly loyal machines turning on their users in ways that defy explanation. There are rumors of a hidden order of anti-psychers who can negate warp energy through their connection to malice, their abilities operating on principles that contradict everything known about blanks and nulls. Some members of the Ordo Malleus believe that malice may be the key to understanding the true nature of reality itself, seeing it as a force that exists at the boundary between existence and non-existence, order and chaos, possibility and impossibility. They theorize that by studying malice, they might unlock the secrets of creation itself, though such knowledge would undoubtedly come at a terrible cost.